Welcome to the Run Your Day podcast, a show dedicated to helping you expand your capacity, take your life in every area to an entirely new level, and creating a day and a life by design. Here's your host, Dan Hafner. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Run Your Day podcast. As always, your host, Dan Hafner here, founder and creator of RunWage and the Run Your Day podcast. Today's topic is this: there's always more than you think. As always, sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. All right, so I'm going to share a story with you guys today. Just bear with me here for a couple minutes. I promise this will be a big one for a lot of you guys. This is a big lesson, big revelation here. So, as some of you know, probably most of you know, my wife and I are in the process of moving here up to Pennsylvania here at the end of the month, and we ran into a little bit of trouble with figuring out where we were going to live. Some things fell through. We have to basically find a temporary place right now, at least for a month or two, till we can finally figure out the housing situation. Not a big deal, but just causing a little bit of unneeded stress, right? So, long story short, we end up. I have the task of just trying to find a pet-friendly place. We got a few dogs, so we need somewhere to have our dogs. Turns out that the Harrisburg and Hershey area is very, very unpet friendly. It's a pet unfriendly, I guess would be the way to say it. There's really not a lot of places that kind of have that as an option, even if you pay extra or whatever. So I'm looking, I'm calling places. They're either not, they don't have anything available for the month, or they charge just a way exorbitant fee for stuff, or the rent's just obscenely high, and there's just not a lot. Like, I'm not finding a lot here. And I did this for like one night, right? Like one evening, I just kind of went through one afternoon and one evening. I just kind of went through, looked at places, just kind of called around, was like, all right, I don't really know what to do. I can't really find anything. But luckily we just kind of looked on Airbnb and were able to find a few places that way. And that's kind of our plan as of right now, just to kind of have a temporary place for a couple months until we can find a more permanent situation. It's not the ideal situation because it is a little farther away. It's just not in the right area of where we want to, or where we need to be for where she's going to work. And it's just not ideal. Right. So last night, I got I don't know what's the best word for it. Called out or proven wrong or shamed or whatever you want to call it, right? So my wife's sitting there on the couch and she's just Googling stuff, looking through. I just kind of was like, what are you doing? She's like, I found all these houses and these apartments that are pet friendly that you can rent for a decent price in Hershey and Harrisburg. And I was like, huh, okay. What did you find? She's like, oh, she's just rattling them off. Like, this one's this price, and this one's this price, and this one's closer. And I don't think you really looked like all that well. And I'm sitting there like, well, I thought I did. I mean, I don't know where you're finding these. I did just as thorough of a search that I thought. I was like, well, I was Googling things. I was looking things up. I was calling. I was investigating. I was going down the rabbit hole. Like, I didn't find anything. And that's kind of where we landed on this decision, right? Turns out I didn't really look all that hard. Yeah. So I learned a very, very valuable lesson, that there's always more available than you think. There's always more available than you think. I went down this rabbit hole of trying to find places and do my research and figure things out. And being truthful about it, I gave up too soon. Like, I really did. Now, I don't know if there's still going to be availability and all this other stuff. There's a whole bunch of other things that go into it. But there was definitely more places available than I thought there were. Right. And this is a very, very interesting principle when you apply it to other areas of your life. Right. There's always more in the tank than you think there is. Right? I remember running my very first half marathon, and I had never run that far before in my life. The furthest I had ever run before my first half marathon was like 5 miles. Well, even when I was training for it, like I just did not train for it all that well. I got to mile like 7 or 8 and I was ready to quit. Like I was like there's no way I can complete this. Like I can't do it physically. And yet, I did it in under 2 hours. My very first one with like basically zero training. And I learned that lesson that day, right? That there's way more in the tank than you think. There's so much more available to you than you think. And I've learned this lesson the time and time again in business, right? Like there's always more available than you think. A lot of us get caught in this trap of thinking that there's only so much money available. There's only so many people available if you're single and you're looking for a relationship. People are like, "Oh, there's no good guys left anymore." You always hear women say, right? That's not true. That's not true. You're just not looking in the right places, or you're limiting yourself because of this story you have that you just said, right? There's not enough available. You're operating under this assumption, just as I was when I was searching for places. And there's always more available than you think. There's always more available. I can think of a million examples of this off the top of my head, right? Like there's always something that comes along. There's always an opportunity that comes along. There's always a person that comes along to help you out or to point you in the right direction or figure something out for you at the right time. Even when you might not be looking, when you've already given up hope, you've forsaken things, you've just thrown in the towel. And I got reminded of this last night, like in my own life, from me just not being willing to think that there was more available. I kept operating under the story that that's all there is. Like I looked, I did my research, I couldn't find anything, and I gave up. I threw in the towel. I was like, well, we just gotta get an Airbnb, no big deal, whatever. But when you look deeper, when you try something different, like my wife tried something different, she Googled different things, she looked on different sites, she investigated different things, she found more options. She found more. And like this was so powerful, and this was such a deep lesson for me to learn yet again, and just kind of check my ego at the door with this because we all think like, man, I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. Oh, I'm so stressed in life. But I'm doing the best I can. Are you really? Are you really doing the best you can? Are you really giving it all that you can? Because I'll challenge you that you're not. You're not going as hard as you can. You're not digging as deep as you can. You're not working as hard as you can for something. You're leaving something on the table. You're leaving avenues left unexplored. You're leaving things uninvestigated. I know this because I know this is true in my life. There's so much I'm leaving on the table. It happens to us all. It happens to us all. So, where in your life are you leaving things unexplored? Where are you not finding the more that's available? The quote unquote more that's available to you, right? Are you selling yourself short inside of your fitness? Are you selling yourself short inside of a relationship? A lot of us are selling ourselves short inside of our careers. This might be the biggest one for you. Do you sell yourself short in terms of a business or a job that you have? Like, yeah, maybe it's secure, maybe it pays the bills, maybe it's just another thing you go to every day. But are you capable of more? I asked myself this question a year ago, and I said, yeah, yeah, I am. And I leapt into my own thing, and I haven't looked back since. And it's freaking scary as hell, but you find out just how much you're leaving on the table once you decide to investigate what all you're leaving on the table. Mm. This is a good one. This is a good episode. I don't want to toot my own horn, but man, like there's some freaking gold in this once you investigate this in your mind. There really, really is. If you really take this question to heart and you think about where in your life are you selling yourself short? Where are you not going for more? Man, man, like you can do some shit. You can do some shit. So that's all for this episode, my friends. I hope you got a lot out of this. I even, as I'm sitting here, my brain is like firing on all cylinders, thinking, man, like you should really, you should really do this and do that, and you're definitely selling yourself short here and there. And I can think of a bunch. So I'm not going to bore you with those. I know we're going on about 10 minutes here. So just think about that. Think about that. Where can you go for more? Where is it time for you to go for more and reach and stretch and take a risk? Because you got this. You got this. All right, everybody. Well, that is all. I appreciate you guys joining for today for this episode. As always, you can head over to runyourdaypodcast.com for more information and more resources. I'd love to see you there. I'd love to see you. I also have a new Run Your Day Facebook group, which is a private group. You can just request access to it. If you just search Run Your Day inside of groups on Facebook, you'll find that. We can congregate together. We can post about things. We can do a bunch of different stuff. There's nobody in there yet, but I just created it, so it's brand new. Head over to Facebook and join the group, and we can engage in this conversation at a deeper level. All right, everybody, that's all. Make it a great rest of your day. Dan Hafner signing off. Talk to you next time. Hey, have you ever thought about joining a virtual run challenge? As COVID-19 continues to upend our lives and change our life routines, finding fresh ways to challenge yourself physically can be difficult. I know I'm having trouble with that. It can also be pretty hard to connect with others and find accountability partners for the purpose of fitness as well. That's why we created RunWage Virtual Challenges. RunWage Challenges are a new and exciting way to stay physically active and maintain social distancing. Every challenge takes place 100% online, and you can compete against and engage with runners from all over the world. Best of all, they are the only virtual challenges out there which actually reward participants with real cash. That means you have no excuse for staying inactive during this pandemic. So if you've been looking for a fresh and interesting way to stay active and get your miles in, go to runwageapp.com/virtual challenges to join me and the diverse community of runners already competing. That's runwageapp.com/virtual challenges. Can't wait to see you there.